Welcome to science class. Meow.
Teacher Nep, your science teacher. Today we will be I will be discussing to you about the reproductive part of a flower. But before I will discuss to you the topic, let's learn first the vocabulary of this topic. Write the Thai translations of each word so that you can understand the meaning of the word. And when I discuss this topic, you can understand what I am talking. Okay, number 1, pollen grains. Pollen grains. Number 2, attract insect. Attract insect. Number 3, male part. Male part. Number 4, hold. Hold. Number 5, protect. Protect. Number 6, central part. Central part. 7, top. Top. 8, sticky. Sticky. 9, catches. Catches. 10, support. Support. 11, base form. Base form. 12, egg cell. Egg cell. Read the vocabulary and write this in your notebook and translate. Use Google Translator to translate each word, and after that you read and send your video to my line. Okay, let's go to the topic now. Okay, the objective of this topic is to describe the function of each part of the flower. Okay, let's now discuss. So this is the structure of flowers. Okay, as you can see, this is the structure of flower. So this is a sepal. This is a sepal of the flower. The function of sepal, it protect. Okay, it would protect the inside part of the flower. It protects from the insect. Okay, that is the function of the sepal. It would protect the petal. Okay, this is the petal of the flower. Okay, it would protect from the insect. Okay, next one is we have petals. Okay, this part is the petals of the flower. Okay, it's so colorful, it's beautiful, you can see. And this part, they are very colorful, and this petal will help attract the insect. Okay, it will help attract the insect, and when the insects like bees, okay, they will come here and they will eat the nectar of the flower. Okay, the bees, and this part, the petals, will help spread. Okay, spread the pollen grains of the plant. Okay, and the pollen grains is maybe it would goes here in the petal. Okay, the pollen grain is in this portion, and also some pollen grains will go to the petal and helps when the bees come in this portion. It would help spread the pollen grains, because some pollen grains will go to the back of the bees. Okay, because the pollen grains are very small, which helps spread the pollen grains. When the bees goes to another place, okay, it can also have another the same flowers like this. Alright, so we will talk now about the stamens of the flower. Okay, stamens. Okay, the stamen, if you can see, this is stamen. The stamen is composed of anther and filament. Okay, this is the stalk of the stamen and this one is the anther. Okay, the plant makes pollen grain in the part of the stamen called anther. Okay, the plant makes pollen grain in the part of stamen. Okay, this is the anther and this one is the filament. And this anther, this stamen are the male part of the plant. Okay, the stamens are the male part. Okay, male part of the flower. Okay, this is the male part of the flower. This is anther and this one is filament. Okay, as you can see, this one is the anther and this is the anther. The anther is which have pollen grains on it, and also the filament, which is the stalk that holds the anther of a flower. Okay, now we will go to the stamens. Okay, this is the stamens composed of anther and filament. Okay, this is the picture of the anther. It's the pollen, this inside is on top of it have pollen grains. Okay, the filament hold the anther. Okay, this is the filament of a flower and this one here is the anther. Okay, filament, anther, filament, anther, filament, filament, anther, filament, anther, filament, anther, filament. So when you combine them, the anther and the filament, they are belongs to the stamen. The stamen is the male part of the plant. Okay, this is the filament is the stalk of that holds the anther. Okay, this is filament that holds the anther. Now we have called stigma. Okay, the stigma is the top of the flower. Okay, the top of the female part of the flower. The stigma is the female part of the flower. Pollen from another flower collects on the stigma sticky surface. The surface of this stigma is sticky. Okay, sticky. Okay, now you can find at the end of the pistil. So this is the pistil. The pistil is stigma, style, and ovary. Okay, that is the female part of the flower. We have stigma, style, ovary, and also we have this is the female part of the flower. Okay, what is the male part of the flower? The male part of the flower is called the stamen. Okay, and the female part of the flower is called pistil or stigma. Okay, we have the style. Okay, in the stigma or the pistil we have style. Okay, this is the style that the neck of the pistil. This is that holds this style holds the stigma. Okay, this is hold the stigma of the plant. And this one, another one here is we have the stigma. Okay, style, and we have the ovary. Okay, and the part of the pistil that contains the ovules. Okay, the ovary, part of the pistils that holds the ovules. Okay, the ovules is inside the ovary of a flower. Okay, the ovary. You can see the ovules inside the ovary of the flower. Okay, we have ovary. Okay, this is the ovary. This is the ovary, and this part here is the ovary, and we have the ovule. Okay, the ovary protects the ovule. Okay, this one here protects the ovule. This is ovule. The ovule, the pollen grains travels. Okay, we have the male part of the flower we have called estamen. The estamen will go through to the stigma and would be fertilized. Okay, would be fertilized inside the ovule of the plant. Okay, so now the ovules will develop the seeds. Okay, that inside the ovule the seeds will be developed. Okay, so after that, so this is the ovule, the seeds inside, the part of the flower in which the eggs are produced and seeds develop. Okay, this is why the eggs or the seeds will develop inside the ovule of the plant. Okay, this is part here is the ovary of the plant, and here is the this is the ovary, and this one here part is the ovule of the flower, which develop the seeds of lesson. Short video.
Our topic for today is sexual reproduction in flowering plants.
Okay, this is a flower.
Let us learn about the male and female reproductive parts of flowering plants.
Stigma. Female, and this one is male.
Stamen is the male reproductive part of the flower. It consists of the anther and the filament. The anther produces pollen grains. Each matured pollen grain contains a tube cell consisting of a tube nucleus. And two male gametes.
This is stigma.
Carpel is the female reproductive part of the flower. The top part of the carpel is called the stigma. Stigma is supported by the style. Base part of the carpel is the ovary. Ovary contains one or more ovules. Each ovule has a female gamete.
Has female gamete. This is a female gamete.
Flowers that contain both male and female reproductive parts are called bisexual flowers. hibiscus, and rose are some examples of bisexual flowers.
Bisexual flowers.
Flowers that contain either male or female reproductive parts are called unisexual flowers. Papaya and watermelon are some examples of unisexual flowers.
Unisexual flower like papaya, watermelon.
For fertilization to take place, pollen grains need to be transferred from the stamen to the stigma. If the transfer of pollen grains takes place in the same flower, then it is called self-pollination. If the transfer of pollen grains takes place from one flower to another, then it is called cross-pollination.
Different flowers grows to another place.
This transfer of pollen grains is done by wind, water, insects, or animals.
But if it's the same place, it is
After the pollen grain lands on the stigma, the tube cell produces a pollen tube through the style into the ovule. The male gametes travel along with the tube nucleus through the pollen tube. After they reach the ovule, one of the male gametes fuses with the female gamete, leading to fertilization. Fertilization leads to the formation of zygote. The other male gamete fuses with the polar nuclei to eventually form endosperm. The zygote divides multiple times to form an embryo within the ovule. The endosperm provides nourishment to the embryo. Eventually, the ovule develops and turns into a seed.
When it develops inside the ovule, it becomes the flower.
Yeah. Yes! Yes!
Okay, let's continue. All right, so this would be your quiz. All right, just write the correct answer. Okay, this one is the right. This is the right answers. Stamens, stigma, petals, ovary, sepals. Just write the correct answer. Pollen sticks to this. Okay, which part of the flower that pollen grain sticks to this? Okay, the pollen grain sticks to this part in here. Okay, how do you call it? Would stick to the female part of the flower on top of it. Okay, this is, how do you call this? Okay, number 2, where the seed grow. This is the ovary, and the seed will grow in this portion. How do you call this portion? Okay. Number 3, these attract insects. Okay, this part would attract insect. How do you call this part? If this is a flower, this is a flower. How do you call this part, the inside of the flower, this one, that helps attract insect? Okay, the pollen grain is made in what part of the flower? Is it stamen, stigma, petals, ovary, sepals? The pollen grain. Pollen grain is made where? The pollen grain. I told you last time, the pollen grain is made of what part of a flower? It has, this part has anther and has filament. And how do you call it? The male part of the flower. Number 5, this protect the flower before it opens. Okay, this portion here, this one protects the flower before it opens. It protects the outside part of the flower. How do you call it? This, how do you call this? Okay, next one, number 6. Okay, number 6, the male part of the flower. You have to write 7. This attract insects. Okay, they are the same, almost the same. Okay, this is the words that you will choose to, and you have to put your answer in the box. Stamen, stigma, petals, ovary, ovules, pollen, sepals, anther. The female part of the flower which receives the pollen. Okay, how do you call it? The female part of the flower. This one is the male part of the flower. How do you call it? This attracts insects. This one attracts insects. How do you call this portion? Number 9, this is where pollen is made. Okay, pollen is made. Okay, how do you call it? Pollen is made. Number 10, insects carry this from flower to flower. Okay, from flower to flower. How do you call it? The insects, the bees carry it from flower to flower. This protect the flower before it opens. Okay, how do you call this one? Protect the flower before it opens. This becomes seeds after fertilization. It becomes seeds after fertilization. How do you call this? Okay. This is where the seeds will grow. Okay. The seeds will grow this one. This becomes seeds after fertilization. Number 12. Become seeds after fertilization. How do you call this? And number 13, this is where the seeds grow. How do you call this? Inside the ovary. The seeds will grow in this portion. How do you call it? Okay, and after you finish, you have to write the questions. Okay, you have to write the questions, this one, and also the box, and you have to write your answer in your notebook, of course. Okay, there are 13 questions that you need to be answered. And 6, 7, 8, 9 to 13, you have to choose these words and write in the box. And 1, 2, 5, you have to choose it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can choose this stamen, stigma, which word is correct to be written in the box. Okay, you have to write the correct words that is the possible answer in each questions. And after you write, you have to send your answer to my line here. Alright, so that is your activity. And that's all for today, and have a great day.